Okay. First thing I would do is rewrite the numerator. So what is secant? 1 over cosine. So we got 1 over cosine times sine. That's what I have right here. That's being divided by tangent. And tangent is what? Yep. Okay, so that's what I have. When you multiply secant times sine, you actually get tangent. So we have a tangent, or actually, we'll just keep it that way. We have sine over cosine. Divided by sine over cosine. I'm going to do my keep change flip. And whenever you multiply two things that are reciprocals, you get 1. So what you have now is 1. So this whole thing becomes 1 minus 1, and that equals 0. So that was a pretty simple one. Any questions? All right, so let's take out our notes. We only got one more section left. Tomorrow we'll finish out, and then I will also pass out the study guides. So today we're focusing on this section, half angle identities. So go ahead and look at your pink paper, your unit circle. So I want you to notice that sine half angle, there's only one identity for sine. And there is only one identity for cosine. But for tangent, we actually have 3 options that we can use, okay? So let's look at number 1 under our half angle identity. So first of all, it says sine, which means I'm using this one here. So I'm just going to rewrite that identity off to the side where it says sine x over 2. And this is optional, but I'm just going to do that so that I know which identity in that box I'm using. So this is the identity I'm using. All right, don't say it out loud. But we have to figure out what angle on the unit circle divided by 2 is 22.5. Okay? Some of you may automatically see what it is. If not, you just add it to itself. So if you take 22.5 plus 22.5, that should tell you the angle on our unit circle that we're going to work with. Because I need to take an angle on the unit circle. I'm not doubling it. I'm taking an angle on my unit circle. I'm dividing it by 2 in order to get 22.5. So what angle do you think we're working with? What's 22.5 plus 22.5? 45? Who got 45? All right, good. So that means that I'm going to take the sine, and it's going to be 45 divided by 2. That's the angle I'm working with on the unit circle. Okay, so now do you notice how there is a plus and a minus in front? We need to figure out if the sine of 22.5 is the sine of 22.5 positive or negative. So let's look at 22.5. Show me with your fingers, what quadrant would 22.5 fall in on the unit circle? What quadrant will we be in? 1, because it's between 0 and 90. So is sine positive or negative in quadrant 1? Positive, because everything is positive. So this is going to be equals, I'm going to put a plus sign, not the minus, it's positive. So 22.5 is positive in Q1. Sign is positive. It's in Q1, so it's positive. Okay, so now I'm going to do my identity, which says take the square root of 1 minus the cosine of 45, because that's the angle we're working with, divided by 2. All right. So now go to your unit circle and figure out what is the cosine of 45 degrees. Cosine of 45 degrees. And you should get root 2 over 2. Who got root 2 over 2? All right, good. So now, let's look at our numerator. We have to add fractions. In order to we got to subtract fractions. In order to subtract, I need a common denominator, right? So I'm going to rewrite 1 as 2 over 2. Do you agree that 2 over 2 is the same as 1? Except now we have our common denominator. Okay, so that's what I have, and this is all over 2. All of this is under a square root. When you have two fractions and you're subtracting them and you have a common denominator, we can actually write that as one fraction. So this right here, I'm going to bring that together and write it as 2 minus root 2 all over 2. And that's divided by 2 over 1. So what I did was I took this numerator and I wrote it separately from my denominator. Can I cancel out the 2's? Can I do this? Who says yes? Who says no? You cannot, because you're dividing, right? You can only cross cancel for multiplication. So how do you divide fractions? You have to do a keep, change, flip. So let's do that. So that I have the square root of 2 minus root 2 over 2 times 1/2. All right, how do you multiply fractions? Straight across. So if you multiply numerator and denominator, you get the square root of, well, I'm actually going to write it. I'm not going to put the square root on top of it yet. But you get 2 minus root 2 all over 2 times 2. And what's 2 times 2? 4. So the reason why I didn't want to put one big square root is because we're actually going to separate them. Because whenever you square root a fraction, you actually do it separate. Now, luckily for us, we have a perfect square in our denominator. So my final answer is that the sine of 22.5 degrees is equal to, so I have the square root of 2 minus root 2, and that's all over 2. And it's positive. Now, I didn't carry that plus sign. You know, we figured out that it was a positive answer. You don't have to carry the plus sign through, but you do have to carry it through if it's negative. And that would be my final answer. And that is the half angle identity. That is how you use it. Any questions? All right, we're going to do 2 more and then we'll end there for today so that you have time to finish homework 10 if it's not finished, because it's due tomorrow. And you should be really close to finish with homework 12. All right, now you can start working on the back. All right, so now the first thing we need to do a couple things. First thing we need to figure out is What quadrant is 165? So show me with your fingers. Where is 165? All right, now it's asking for cosine. Is cosine, so you all say Q2, okay. In quadrant 2, is cosine positive or negative? Negative. All right, so this is the identity I'm working with. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that. So for this identity, we have the cosine. Oh, wait. Now one more thing we got to figure out. 165 plus 165. We need to figure out what the angle will be on our unit circle. What angle am I working with on our unit circle? Where half of that angle would be 165. All right, what's 165 plus 165? 330? Who got 330? Is that on our unit circle? 330? All right, good. So I'm going to take, so the cosine identity, so I'm going to have cosine of the angle is 330 divided by 2. And that's going to equal negative, hold on, let me bring that down because I don't have enough space. So I have the cosine of 330 over 2. And that's going to equal, now I have to make sure I carry that negative through to my final answer. And that's going to equal minus the square root of, now it's 1 plus the cosine of 330 divided by 2. And that is what we're going to do. So now we're going to our unit circle to find 330 degrees. And what is the cosine of 330 degrees? Square root 3 over 2. Positive or negative square root 3 over 2? Positive. Okay. Okay. So we got 1 plus root 2 over 2. I'm gonna do all the steps. Same steps that we did in number 1. So we have 1 plus root 2 over 2. The next thing I'm going to do is rewrite 1 as what? 2 over 2. It was. I was just playing, guys. I did that on purpose. Because I was like, are they really paying attention? That's what a good teacher does. So we got 2 minus 2 over 2 plus root 3 over 2. And then I'm going to separate this and divide that by 2 over 1. I'm going to separate it now, actually. Does everybody see what I did there? So this is my numerator in this first parentheses. And then this is my denominator right here. So now I'm going to bring it, I'm going to do 2 steps in 1. The first thing I'm going to do is bring this together to make 1 fraction. So I'm going to write this as 2 plus root 3 over 2. And the second thing I'm going to do is my keep change flip, which is going to change this to times 1/2. So again, okay. So I did 2 steps in one. I made one single fraction. And then instead of dividing by 2, I did keep change flip, which means I multiply by 1/2. So now we're ready to multiply straight across. So we got a negative in the front. And I'm actually not going to put my square root on there. Sorry, I just forgot. I forgot about it. So I got 2 plus root 3 all over 4. And the reason why I didn't want to put a big square root is because now I want to separate it into 2 square roots. Because that's what happens when you take the square root of a fraction, you're square rooting the top and the bottom separate. Numerator and denominator get square rooted separately. So my final answer, and we have to make sure that we keep our minus sign in front, because 165 is the cosine is negative. So I have negative, and then I have 2 plus root 3 all over 2, and I need to keep that square root only in the numerator. And that would be my final answer. Any questions so far? Not bad. I think the identities aren't bad. You just have to practice simplifying and verifying. Tomorrow we're going to do like 2 or 3 simplify, verify problems. Finish our notes, and I'm going to go over. And I'm passing out the study guide. All right, last one for today, number 3. So, first thing I'm going to do, just like I did for the other 2. Remember how I started off by adding them together to see 22.5 and 22.5, 165 and 165. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take 7 pi over 12 plus 7 pi over 12. We have our common denominator. So 7 plus 7 would be 14 pi over 12. Go ahead and reduce that fraction down. 14 over 12. All right, what is 14 over 12 reduced down to? 7 pi over 6. All right, is that on our unit circle? Is there a 7 pi over 6 on our unit circle? Okay, good. So I'm going to take the cosine, and the angle I'm going to divide in half is 7 pi over 6. So now let's go back to when we started this. Let's go back to this 7 pi over 12. We need to figure out what quadrant is 7 pi over 12. So I don't know if you all remember the trick I told you for radians. What do you have to count by when you go around across the unit circle? Count by half of what? Count by who? 6. Count by half of your denominator. So this would be 0. This would be 6 over 12. This will be 12 over 12, 18 over 12, 24 over 12. So now that we have it that way, show me with your fingers, where is 7 over 12 going to fall? Because that's the angle we're talking about. 7 over 12. Not 7 pi over 6, but 7 over 12, because this is the angle I'm trying to figure out. So 7 over 12 would be somewhere in here. Is cosine positive or negative in quadrant 2? negative. So that's important. Just like the last one, I have to make sure I keep that negative in front. Okay, so let's do it. So I have the cosine of 7 pi over 6. That equals negative, and then it'll be 1 plus, let's see if I can squeeze this in here. 1, not 1 plus. Wait, is it 1 plus or 1 minus? Hold on, let me see. 1 plus, yeah. 1 plus the cosine of 7 pi over 6 all over 2. That's my identity that I'm working with. So I'm going to bring that down. So we got cosine 7 pi over 6 equals negative. All right. 1. What is the cosine? Look at your unit circle. What is the cosine of 7 pi over 6? The cosine of 7 pi over 6. Negative root 3 over 2. Anybody else get that? Negative root 3 over 2. So I got 1, and I'm going to say minus root 3 over 2. I'm going to let you all finish it from there. See if you can make it. It's the same steps. Common denominator, one fraction, keep, change, flip, take the square root. So finish it out. And this is 7 pi over 6 over 2, by the way. Because we're taking, in order to get 7 pi over 12, I'm taking half of 7 pi over 6. That's how I'm getting to the 7 pi over 12. All right, did you get what I got? So I didn't show all my steps. I skipped some. But after you rewrite it with a common denominator, oh, well, let me use blue. This would be the numerator. And this is what you get after you do your keep, change, flip. So I just did 2 steps in one, but if you did not get that, please, I will help you get there because I want you all to do well. We do have our test a week from today. And then on Friday of next week, we get to use calculators. Are you guys excited to be reunited with the yellows, the big yellows. All right, use this time to either A, ask for questions.